Today's program is sponsored by The Anthony Vincent Salon. Say hello to beautiful.
And you're listening to Trend Radio, where we talk about what's hot and what's not. Get into the loop with us. I'm Anthony Vincent.
And I'm Elise, and we're your radio gateway to what's trending with beauty, fashion, health, wellness, and sex.
Mostly sex.
Learn and laugh with us. Anytime, any place. Go right to our website, anthonyvincentsalon.com. Click away and listen today.
Oh, you'll be glad you did.
Always.
Oh, Elise, do we have a great holiday show for you today?
We sure do.
We are going to be talking about Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa.
Oh my gosh, we certainly are.
We might even sing a little song. I'm not sure.
I don't think we should sing. We did that once.
Yes, we did. And we'll do it again.
Okay.
We have an absolutely fabulous guest today. Very interesting.
We do. I'm saying his name, Andy Scrimger, and he's so fabulous. I just can't wait. I can't wait for today.
But first, we're going to talk about the history of Hanukkah.
Oh, I love Hanukkah.
And I'm going to tell you a funny story about Hanukkah.
Okay, tell me.
It was very early in my career at the salon.
Mm-hmm.
It was our first or second Christmas, and I was so happy to decorate the salon for Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Now, at the time, I'm a young man. I didn't know the difference. I'm a little Italian boy, from
You didn't know to
Berg.
decorate for Hanukkah, right?
All I knew was Christmas.
Uh-huh.
What do I know from Hanukkah? I didn't know what it was. I thought it was Chanukah.
Okay, but you know what? What about Ronnie and her little Jewishness?
She pretended that she was Catholic. She had the little Catholic girl outfit and everything. But so anyway, I decorated the salon for Christmas, and this little boy comes in. And by the way, he still comes in. He's just not a little boy anymore. His name was MD. How you doing out there, MD?
MD, okay.
So MD is sitting on the booster seat. This is a true story. He's sitting on the booster seat, and he's looking around at all the Christmas decorations. And he says to me, where's the Hanukkah decorations? Now, I looked at him. He's got to be about 5 or 6 years old. Mm-hmm. And I look at him and I say, that's a good question. He looks back at me and says, I hope you got a good answer. True story.
You know what? I believe he would say that.
Yes.
Oh, that's a right.
Yeah, he's still a smartass today.
Yeah, he's a
lovable smartass.
Yeah, he's a sweet kid.
He's
sweet. Okay.
So getting back to the history of Hanukkah.
Yes.
Tell this little Catholic boy.
Okay.
All about Hanukkah.
I'll tell you a little bit about it. First of all, it started this year. Every year it's different with Hanukkah, but it started this year. The first full day was this past Wednesday, the 17th, and it will end the 24th, Christmas Eve. So I love when they're sort of together. I love that a lot. Anyway, the 8-day celebration known as Hanukkah begins on the 25th of Kislev on the Hebrew calendar. Often it's referred to as the Festival of Lights.
Italians have a Festival of Lights also.
Yes.
Yeah,
the Feast of
September.
And I always go to that Feast of San Gennaro, yeah. According to the Talmud, Judah Maccabee, which I will discuss Judah Maccabee with you another time, and a few other Jews who took part in the rededication of the Second Temple believed there was a miracle that happened. You see, there was only enough untainted olive oil to keep the candles of the menorah that they had lit burning for only a single day. And that was the only light that they had while they were building and doing everything they were doing.
How far back are you going?
I'm going back. But let me just tell you this. These flames continued flickering for 8 nights, giving them the light that they needed and enough time to find a fresh supply of oil. And this miracle inspired the Jewish sages to proclaim a yearly 8-day festival. Did you know that?
I did not. I know now.
You see, now you know. So, traditional, delicious Hanukkah foods are always fried in oil, and they're so good. Potato pancakes, known as latkes, which you love, I know you do, and jam-filled donuts. Anything fried, very popular. Very popular for Hanukkah. And also playing with dreidels and exchanging gifts, which I know you know about that because you have to know about the 8 days of Hanukkah and the gifts and the giving and the receiving. They just add to the glory of this wondrous holiday. Isn't that lovely?
Wow, that's a beautiful story.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about Kwanzaa now? Come on. We have a little history about Kwanzaa, too.
Let's go.
Okay.
You seem to have it down pat here.
This is very, very interesting. Now, Kwanzaa is going to be starting in a few days, December 26th, the day after Christmas Day, and it goes through January 1st, 2015, which is coming up. And they have a very, very, very interesting holiday. Kwanzaa derived from the phrase Matunda ya Kwanzaa, which means first fruits in Swahili. And on each of the 7 nights, a candle is lit, just like Hanukkah, and one of the 7 principles is discussed. And the principles, called the Nguzo Saba, are values of African culture. Kwanzaa also has 7 basic symbols that are reflective of the culture as well. On December 31st, a Karamu, which is an African feast, is held to celebrate their holiday, which is quite incredible. But I love these principles. Listen to this. There's 7 of them.
I'm on the edge of this, by the way.
It's amazing.
This is really interesting.
I know. The first one is unity. The first principle, unity. And it's pronounced, their word in Swahili is uja. The second one is self-determination, and this one's great. This word in Swahili is pronounced kujichagulia. The third is collective work and responsibility, and it's ujima. The fourth is cooperative economics, and it's ujama. So there's ujima and ujama. Very interesting.
Like the yin and the yang.
Yeah. The fifth principle is purpose, and it's niya. The sixth, creativity, and it's kuumba. And the seventh is faith. And this is what I love. Faith. Imani, but we all have to have faith. Faith in God, faith in those, around us, those we love, those we trust. We all have to know that we have faith. Faith is just such a wonderful thing to have.
These principles sound like a lesson in life to follow.
It's quite incredible.
Kwanzaa.
I was actually doing a little bit more reading about it. And what a wonderful, wonderful traditional holiday it really is. So we wish everybody a wonderful celebration. And now we can talk a little bit about
Kwanzaa.
Yeah, happy Kwanzaa. Happy Hanukkah, happy Kwanzaa. And now we can go right into Merry Christmas. And Christmas, as everybody should know, I would think everybody does know, is the annual Christian festival celebration of the birth of Jesus. And every year, Christmas Eve is the 24th of December, and the 25th is Christmas Day. And I love the beauty of Christmas.
Are Jewish girls allowed to like Christmas?
We're allowed to like whatever we want.
Oh.
We're Jewish. Okay, now one of the most popular customs is cutting down and decorating an evergreen tree. And the earliest... Wait, what were you going to say? I see your mouth opening there.
I was going to let you finish. I have a story.
About a Christmas tree?
About our Christmas tree when I was a child. This is a true story.
Okay, so you can tell it in 1 second. Let me just give this little tidbit of information, and then you can go right into your actual real story.
But I sometimes cry when I tell the story.
You can cry. I have a tissue.
I'm so sensitive.
I have a tissue, or you can use my arm.
Okay.
So the earliest record to date of an evergreen being used and decorated, but without lights, for Christmas is in the year, get this, 1521. And it's in the German region of Alsace. And the first mention of lights or candles on a tree is from the 17th century. And now, folks, we get to hear a little true story about Anthony's Christmas tree while he was growing up.
I have this picture in my album. Probably I was 7 years old. Mm-hmm. And as you know, I was from...
And you still act like you're 7, you know?
Occasionally, but I have that choice because I'm Anthony freaking Vincent.
That is correct.
So I'm from a very, very humble family. My father worked very hard, worked 2 jobs. My mother stayed home, raised us, and gave us all the love that we could.
You were very blessed.
Yes, very, very blessed. Did not have a lot of money, did not have a lot of things. In fact, the happiest days as a child in the neighborhood was when one of the neighbors got a new refrigerator or washing machine, and the box was in the front of the house, still intact.
You guys played with it.
And we would grab the box, bring it in the backyard, and that would be our fort.
Yeah, I loved forts like that, actually, growing up.
Yeah, and we drew on it and colored it and things like that.
Throw a few blankets in it,
Yeah, it was really great. But getting back to the Christmas tree, so anyway, from, our very, very humble beginnings, my father, very, very creative guy, we went out looking for a Christmas tree, and he found a Christmas tree. It was $1.75.
Wow.
For the Christmas tree. And I remember it's $1.75 because he gave him 2 and let the guy keep the quarter for tying it on top of the little station wagon that we had.
Wow.
Well, let me tell you, this was the ugliest Christmas tree I had ever seen in my life.
Was it like a Charlie Brown Christmas?
I call it my Charlie Brown Christmas tree.
Yeah, Charlie?
It's true.
I believe
Come on.
you.
I'm trying to get all misty over here, and you're laughing. So
well,
anyway,
the way you said Charlie for Charlie.
This was the skimpiest, scrawniest tree that I had ever seen in my life. My sister and I started crying when they tied it on top of the truck because it was so ugly.
Hi, Iris.
So we brought it home. My father said, "Don't worry. This Christmas tree is going to be beautiful. Don't worry." I said, "Okay, Daddy." So he brought it home, and he put it in a bucket of sand, put water in the sand, and he held it up so that it was straight. And what he did is he cut all of the branches off the back of the tree. True story. Every branch. He slid the tree against the wall, so there was only half the tree. He drilled holes in the trunk all the way in the front that was seen, and he whittled the ends and stuck the branches in the Christmas tree.
Oh my gosh, from the back.
From the back. He put the branches from the back into the front. And
he worked hard to give you guys a beautiful tree.
Yes, he did.
Oh, stop. Don't do it. Don't you dare do it.
This is where I get misty.
Just stop it.
Okay.
Okay, don't do it. Oh, he's all so cute. Okay, let's go forward. You all right there?
Yeah, you didn't let me finish my story. I got to tell you about my balls.
Oh,
my Christmas balls.
Okay, if you want to talk about Christmas balls, that's fine.
So anyway, we put tinsel on that tree. We put balls. We put lights. That tree was beautiful. And
of course it was.
I don't know if you realize this or not. I recently got actually all of the Christmas decorations from that tree, and they're in the basement of the salon.
I know. We talked about it. Yeah. Remember we went through them?
Yeah, we did go through them.
Yes.
And I have one of the Christmas balls from my Charlie Brown tree hanging in the salon. I have one hanging in my car.
I know.
And that Christmas ball is older than I am.
I know.
That Christmas ball's got to be 42, 43 years old.
They're beautiful.
Yeah.
I know. So that's a beautiful story. Thank you for sharing it with us.
So anyway, can you say that? Did you know the number 8 is lucky?
I, of course, knew that.
I knew you knew.
8's my favorite number, and you know why?
Tell us.
Because when you turn it on its side, it's the infinity symbol.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
it's very lucky for me.
Well, also in Asian cultures, the 8 symbol represents good fortune.
Ah, I did not know that.
Good fortune, ambition, and power.
Oh, love that.
That's why I like the number 8.
No, you like the number 8 because of what I told you.
That's right. I like everything you told me. Now, when you double the number 8, what do you get?
88?
Very good. I thought you were going to say 16.
No, it's 2 8s
That's right.
sitting next to each other. 88.
When you double the 8 to form an 88, it is seen by the soothsayers as a 4-leafed clover.
Oh, lucky.
Yes.
So do you know what happens when you cut the number 8 in half? What do you get?
4.
No, you get a 3. A 3. If you actually look at the 8 and you slice it in half, you get a 3. And then if you put the 3 first and then the 8, that's the number 38. But
That's how old I am.
listen, 3 little words and 8 little letters. What does that mean?
I love you.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Isn't that nice?
That is very, very cool.
See that? The play on 8.
So, a widespread sign of good luck.
And love.
88, everybody.
Just 8. Just 1.
We'll be back right after a word from our sponsors. This portion of our show is sponsored by Susan Eckley Ruck of ID Life. Not a one-size-fits-all nutritional program.
ID Life stands for Individually Designed Life, where nutrition is personal, formulated just for you and your needs.
Get started today. Take the free HIPAA-compliant health assessment.
healthforlife.idlife.com.
That's the number 4.
Or give Susan a call, 609-712-1351.
Follow her on Facebook.
You'll be glad you did.
Morning, Charlie. Welcome
Good morning.
This is Chocolate Charlie. Thanks for having me back.
Great to have you.
What do you
right.
got for us, Charlie?
So, I have some really special stuff coming up for Christmas. We've got holiday stockings and also Christmas ornaments filled with chocolates that you can actually hang on the tree. You guys are going to love this. And we also have more and more chocolates that you can pair with your wines, scotch, whiskeys, bourbons, and spirits over the holidays. Let me tell you,
Sounds fabulous.
this is something you do not want to miss out. When people take these bars to the parties, this is exactly what they're talking about. They haven't seen anything like this before. They haven't tasted anything like this before. And, with your Santa hats and your pajamas, let me tell you, this is what your kids want to wake up to on Christmas morning.
Fabulous. ChocolateBoxNJ.com.
I'm Anthony Vincent of Anthony Vincent Salon. Time for another fun and fabulous beauty tip with our tip chick. And here she is.
Got chemistry? Is your salon consistent, happy, edgy, magical, impeccable, satisfying, trendy? Are you ready for anything? Say hello to beautiful.
Remember, for the 150,000 hairs on your head, there's only one choice. Call us now at 609-448-2212. You'll be glad you did. And now our very own gatekeeper of matrimonial law, Roseanne de Torres.
Check out DeTorres and DeGeorge, certified matrimonial law attorneys at dndfamilylaw.com.
You'll be glad you did. Hello again, Roseanne.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So I have a question for you. What would happen if I, not me, but the vernacular me, went to court to obtain my own divorce?
What would happen? Well, you can do it. There are plenty of people that do. I don't recommend that for anything other than just getting divorced. So if you have children involved, support issues of any kind, or any kind of assets or debts that need to be divided, a house or anything, retirement accounts, you definitely want to have an attorney. I can tell you horror story after horror story.
Oh, do tell. Do tell us a story.
I had a client who did her own divorce because she didn't have the resources. Now she's paying for it tenfold. So she could have put it on a credit card, perhaps borrowed the money from some family member or something to get an attorney to do it right the first time. Instead, she's paying 10 times what she would have paid then to fix the problems now. And it had to do with the marital home. The parties agreed that the husband would retain the marital home. They did not put anything in the agreement, though, that required him to refinance to get her name off the mortgage, or any kind of what we call a fail-safe provision, or otherwise affectionately known as a drop-dead provision. What happens if he doesn't pay the mortgage if he's assuming the mortgage? So in this particular case, he was assuming the mortgage, but her name was on it. She never bothered to check to see if he was continuing to pay it. She didn't realize that he hadn't been paying it until she went to buy a house 5 years later, and she realized that the mortgage was still in her name. So they never even thought about, should I get the mortgage out of my name? Or if I'm going to leave it in our joint names, do I put in a requirement that he continue to pay the payments? And if he doesn't, that we list the property immediately for sale. They didn't say any of that. They didn't say what happens if he doesn't pay the taxes.
So what happened to her credit?
Her credit was ruined. Then she had to hire me, and I didn't do the divorce, obviously. She did it herself. Hire me to force him out of the house so that she could list it for sale, because he wouldn't. She tried to communicate with him privately. He was just ignoring her. He wasn't paying the mortgage. He wasn't paying the taxes. The house was going to go into foreclosure. And I said to her, at least if you get control of the premises, you can do a short sale with the bank. You can get that thing out from under your credit.
It took 5 years?
Well, she didn't realize it until 5 years later, because
how
that's
long
when
wasn't he paying that house for?
I don't know. I mean, a couple of years at least.
Oh my
but she
gosh.
didn't realize it until 5 years later, because that's when she went to buy a new house. And it came up, she was declined for a mortgage because her name was on a mortgage that was in default.
But wouldn't that have affected her credit years ago?
It never came up.
She may have never needed the credit until 5 years later.
That's right.
Wow.
So I can tell you a dozen stories like that where people have been penny wise and pound foolish about the cost of divorce. The law is so technical, and if you have anything at all at stake, I urge you to seek the advice of counsel. We work with people on the fees. We have hybrid fee arrangements. It's not always done hourly. If you have an uncontested case and you can reach an agreement with your spouse quickly, we document it properly. And we can do that on a fixed fee basis without additional costs. For one flat fee, you pay no more, no less. So for those people that say, oh yeah, I have a deal with my spouse, I'll just go to court myself, I still urge them to have the marital settlement agreement prepared by a professional, because the laws are too technical, and you want to make sure every I is dotted and T is crossed. It's too much at stake to leave it to chance.
That is really scary. That is really scary. Well, anyway, that's wonderful information as always. And why don't you give your number that people can reach you?
Sure. It's 908-284-6005.
And that's DeTauris and DeGeorge.
Need a salon that's about the whole you? Precision haircuts, flawless makeup, impeccable nails, top-rated professional hair products. Anthony Vincent Salon. Looking for a hairstylist who has his finger on the pulse of all the latest trends? Anthony Vincent Salon. Looking for a dependable salon with over 35 years in the industry? Anthony Vincent Salon. Looking for New York City and internationally trained stylists that will create the perfect look for you? Anthony Vincent Salon. Shine brightly while walking down the aisle. Anthony Vincent Salon. For longer, thicker, beautiful hair extensions, Anthony Vincent Salon. Incredible makeup applications for weddings, proms, or any special occasions, Anthony Vincent Salon. Have dry, brittle summer hair? Get a hot shot, Anthony Vincent Salon. Before you put a ring on it, manicure it, Anthony Vincent Salon. Your image is their specialty. For the 150,000 hairs on your head, there's only one choice, Anthony Vincent Salon. For a more beautiful you, call now, 609-448-2212, and follow them on Twitter.
And now for the fun facts on finance.
From a feminine point of view, our very own Dina Cobran
of DC Alexander Wealth Management. Welcome back, Dina.
Good morning.
Good morning, Anthony and Elise.
So what have you got for us today?
We are going to talk about women and money today. After 25 years, more than 25 years in the financial industry, I know firsthand how women struggle with their finances. And today, more than 60% of all finances are controlled by women. Did you know that?
I knew that.
I didn't know that.
No.
And women and money are two of my most favorite subjects.
So let's hear about it.
Well, women, in order to get what they need and get a financial plan in order, they need to know how to ask the right kinds of questions. And as a financial professional, you need to know how to ask women open-ended questions so that they'll get what they need. So questions such as, can you share with me your greatest hopes and fears in retirement? Might provoke, obviously, more questions than, how much money do you think you need in retirement? Or, are there any influences with regard to how you view money? A lot of women, especially women in their 60s and 70s today, were not given the tools to handle their own finances. And unfortunately, they're left handling their own finances without the knowledge. They haven't gotten the experience with finances because they were always controlled by either their father saying, don't worry, dear, someone will take care of you. Then they get married in life and the husband says, don't worry, dear, we'll take care of you. And then what happens is the woman is left alone to deal with this stuff which she was never dealt with in all the years of being married or being taken care of, as we say. So especially women today are facing like what we call a triple whammy because they're having children later in life. So they're living longer and 50% of them are ending in divorce. And they also have children that are older and they're having to take care of sometimes their parents who are aging, as well as their children who are younger than they should be, and then also having to deal with retirement and doing all the finances in the home, etc.
And that's where you come in.
Well, I try to come in, but women are challenging to deal with, but you have to learn how to ask the right questions so that they can get the right answers.
So what would you suggest? How would you be able to pull these questions out for them?
Again, you just need to ask open-ended questions such as, what would you like your money to help you accomplish?
What are some of those things that are the answers? What do women want to accomplish?
Well, women put feelings and emotion into what they want.
Exactly.
Right? Okay, so in order to get to that, you have to get to the feeling of what it is. And women are scared about money a lot of times. I mean, we spend more than men when we are upset or whether we're celebrating. We tend to go on a shopping spree for different events where men do not do that. There's a lot of statistics, actually, that 1 in 3 women will impulse shop, where a man will not impulse shop.
That's the emotional aspect.
Right. And they 24% of women cannot resist a sale compared to 5% of men that can. So we have to do more of, controlling our finances. And we always talk about budgeting as well.
Yes, I love budgeting.
And so women hate to budget because it's one of those unknown things that is a challenge.
It's yucky.
It's yucky. No one likes to budget, but we have to budget. And we have to get our hair cut and get dry cleaning done.
Yes, we do.
Get our nails done.
Yes,
right?
especially.
Exactly. So that has to be put into our budget of planning. Women earn 61 cents for every 69 cents to every dollar that a man earns.
Wow.
And did you know that women are also claiming bankruptcy at a lot higher of a rate than men as well?
Really?
That we did not know.
Yes. There probably 39% of women compared to 61% of men will become bankrupt.
Wow.
So in order to avoid that, they need to contact you.
And
Yes,
that's
they
what
do.
I was just going to say. Why don't you give your information?
They can contact me via email at dcobrin@nextfinancial.com or look me up on Facebook with Mom's Money Matters and Mom's Money Matters for tweeting as well.
Do this today. You'll be glad you did.
Securities and investment advisory services offered through Next Financial Group Incorporated, member FINRA/SIPC. DC Alexander Wealth Management is not an affiliate of Next Financial Group Incorporated. 2346 Route 33, Suite 307, Robbinsville, New Jersey 08691. Phone number 609-945-7330.
This portion of our show is sponsored by Susan Eckley Ruck of ID Life. Not a one-size-fits-all nutritional program.
ID Life stands for Individually Designed Life, where nutrition is personal, formulated just for you and your needs.
Get started today. Take the free HIPAA-compliant health assessment.
Healthforlife.idlife.com.
That's the number 4.
Or give Susan a call, 609-712-1351.
Follow her on Facebook.
You'll be glad you did.
And we're back.
Yes, we are. And we have such a fabulous guest today. We have with us Andy Scrimger. recently retired as Dean of Libraries at Drew University in Madison, New Jersey. He earned his master's degree at Princeton Theological Seminary and Rutgers University. His PhD is from Drexel University in Philadelphia.
And with all that education, you can still talk to him like a regular guy.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
He's a regular guy, everybody.
Yeah.
With a lot of stuff.
Yes.
In
And
his
Anthony,
background.
our listeners will know his name from the New York Times.
Yes, they will.
Yeah, the Times published several of his essays, and one of his Christmas stories titled A String of Bulbs was our guiding star. And
Beautiful story.
Oh, yeah, beautiful. And you can read that. That came out, that was published December 3rd, 2010.
But today, he's going to read a couple of stories for us. We're going to let him tell us about it.
Well, first,
hello. Well,
I was going to say good morning.
That's what I was going to say. Good morning, Andy.
Good morning, Anthony. Good morning, Elise.
Good morning. It's such a pleasure to have you with us today.
Thank you so much. I know that I personally have been waiting for the holidays to come up just so that I could have you for this show. This is our
Me too.
yeah, our holiday show, and we've been waiting to have you on, and we are so blessed to have you here today.
I'm so excited.
Well, it's a treat for me, and you know better than most people that the salon is a natural place for storytelling.
Yeah, Anthony does know that.
I have been inspired for little nuggets that have found their way into my stories. They're in your Heightstown store.
How nice. How nice is that?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Oh, that is such a lovely thing.
So I am a contributor to works of
art.
Yeah.
And poetry.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
You remember the story that I told about a minister who was new to his congregation and was having difficulty getting to know folks. And I make the observation in the story that he realized that he knew his new hairstylist better than anybody in the congregation. It was a flash of insight.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, that could be absolutely true.
I believe that.
Absolutely
Yeah.
true.
I definitely believe that. Well, everyone, I just want to let all of you know we are so blessed today because Andy is going to read to us some beautiful, beautiful, beautiful stories.
What stories are you going to
I was
tell
going
us?
to tell you.
I want him to tell us.
I've been assigned. I didn't get to pick the story.
You didn't pick the story.
No,
I did.
The boss lady did.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh.
She is so bossy.
I am boss, not bossy. I think we had this conversation.
Yeah, we did.
Okay. So, all right, Andy, do you want to tell the stories that you're going to read?
Well, you told me that your favorite was the silver harmonica.
It is.
So I, if we're still on plan here, I'm going to read that one first.
Aw, thank you. We are on plan, always on plan, especially when I get to go first. Thank you, Andy. So that's the introduction, the silver harmonica.
And without any further ado,
Christmas gifts are typically opened in two contrasting kinds of light: the candled darkness of Christmas Eve or the first light of Christmas morning. I grew up in a family that favored the evening option, but I gladly switched when I married a woman from the brighter side. As Christmas approached, my wife's relatives would talk about the follies of nebbing for the edification of the younger set. Nebbing being a regional Pennsylvania word for sneaking about the house when grown-ups aren't around, checking drawers, cupboards, and crawl spaces for hidden gifts. While I've never been prone to nebbing, I must admit that one year I opened a package well in advance of the 25th. I didn't spy it in the nether regions of our clothes closet. It found me. My brother Paul surprised me with an early gift, a brown leather jacket. I asked him if he would still gift wrap the coat and place it under the tree for rediscovery, for I didn't want it to miss a signature brotherly touch. Each year, his gifts looked like they were stolen from a Saks Fifth Avenue window display. If you walked into our living room and surveyed the gifts under the tree, you would have no difficulty spotting the ones that he had placed there. They would be the most elegant packages, the ones most likely to have been left by the Magi themselves. My brother may be the most persnickety person I know when it comes to holiday wrap, but he is even better known for the exacting way he chooses the actual gifts. He would never buy a generic present for anyone. It must be something that declares that he knows who that person is. His gifts are often unusual and have required hours of planning, searching, and worrying. Consequently, you never find yourself months later discreetly contributing his offerings to the local thrift shop, church bazaar, or elephant gift exchange. Perhaps his most publicized gift was not a family gift, but one that he created in the early 70s for the citizens of Northern California. He had learned that plastic decorations would deck the toll plaza on the Golden Gate Bridge for the holidays, a cost-saving decision. The thought of artificial greens marring the iconic structure was intolerable to him. But instead of merely grousing about it, he set out to remedy it. He contacted the Golden Gate Bridge Highway and Transportation District and persuaded the Scrooge Party bureaucrats to bless a counterproposal to properly adorn the entrance to the bridge on the San Francisco side at his expense. The San Francisco Examiner soon saluted him for the handcrafted, regionally appropriate wreaths that now greeted cars heading north over the Golden Span, redwood boughs studded with bows as vibrant as his own red hair. Many years later, Paul and my parents came to Colorado to spend the holidays with my family. Curiously, the master of gift-giving was uncertain about what to buy for Mom, for she had suffered several strokes, was deep into Alzheimer's, and often didn't know us. She seemed content to sit in a cardigan sweater by the fireplace and watch the pageantry of the season unfold around her, the decorating, wrapping, cooking, baking, unaware that the pastries of her hand, which had defined the flavors of Christmas for our family over 5 decades, were now being prepared by the next generation. The mom with whom we sat in the second pew of church and learned to read music by following her gossamer voice up and down the staves in the hymnal no longer sang and rarely spoke. So Paul was anxious as we opened gifts around the tree in the shy light of Christmas morning. When it came his turn to distribute his gifts, he handed Mom a stylish package that suggested jewelry. With tedious care, her fingers worked off the ribbon and wrap, opened the box, and lifted out a silver harmonica. She had played a mouth organ when she was younger, but had been without one for years. Dad said, "Why don't you play something, Sylvia?" I winced, thinking that he was putting too much pressure on her, but no, her eyes danced. Cautiously, she raised the slender harp to her lips, blew a few tentative chords, then slowly, flawlessly, played Jesus Loves Me. It was as if she had been practicing it for months, just for that occasion. During December, many people listened for church bells, their old familiar carols play. But I, in my brown leather jacket, listened for the plaintive strains of a silver harmonica.
Well, that was beautiful, and unfortunately or fortunately, both of us are in tears here. That really
that was beautiful.
Beautiful.
It was beautiful.
Yeah.
I didn't expect it to end that way.
It's beautiful. I love that story. See, look at me. That's the reason I asked you to play it. It reminds me actually of my grandmother. She had dementia, and so there during the holidays, it was always very difficult because she didn't know who anybody, except for me, she didn't know who anybody else was. And so when we would strike a chord with her, it was a beautiful thing. And when I read the Silver Harmonica, it reminded me so much of her and our family. Thank you so much.
Isn't it amazing, though, when you look back and tell the stories from your family, that so often it's a problem that turns into an unexpected gift? Paul's
an unexpected
concern
joy
about what to get Mom under those circumstances turned out to be such a gift, and a story that we tell the family
really
over and
a beautiful
over again.
thing.
Absolutely beautiful story.
Yeah.
Okay. So, moving on, do you have another one with us that'll bring us to tears?
Of course. Well, I don't know if this is going to bring you to tears, but this is a great one. Do you want to read the name of it?
Yes, this is Santa's Last Delivery.
I don't think anybody's going to cry over this, but it should surely take us all back to that time of a critical discovery in our lives.
Okay, if you're just joining us now, you're listening to Trend Radio, and we're here with Andy Scrimger, and he is reading beautiful holiday Christmas stories to us.
So here is Santa's Last Delivery. The night before Christmas delivers delicious anguish to the younger set. All is ready for the final event. The lines for the Sunday school pageant have been memorized and delivered to adoring congregations. Presents for family and best friends have been selected, wrapped, mailed, or personally delivered. The ritual of the tree is complete. The ornaments, released from year-long hibernation in attic trunks, dangle memories from the branches. Only the floor beneath the fir is bare, and that circular desert is scheduled to become a dazzling bazaar of bounty at virtually any moment, provided the flamboyant flyer from the north finds the house and its young inhabitants sleeping warm in dreamland. When I was about 7, I was given an unexpected berth from which to observe this annual drama. My family was visiting relatives in Canada for Christmas, and there weren't enough beds to go around at 3209, my grandparents' home in Calgary. So I was assigned the sofa in the living room. I did not resist or resent being told it was time to go to bed, for on the Chesterfield I could drift luxuriously off to sleep each night in the glow of the Christmas tree and the comforting sounds floating from behind the closed door to the kitchen, the chatter of china cups and saucers, and the soft laughter of the adults I loved. On the night of miracles, my mind was tortured by one question. Had Santa understood that the gift I truly craved was a doctor's kit? It wasn't a selfish wish, actually, closer to a prayer, really, for I wanted to become a missionary doctor and cure people of all manner of diseases in exotic lands far away. I therefore needed to practice medicine, but lacked proper equipment. As I drifted in and out of sleep, I suddenly sensed movement in the room. Forcing myself to peek from under the blanket, I beheld a shadow advancing cautiously towards the tree, a pregnant stack of gifts against its chest. Fearful that my awakened state might be discovered, I tried not to blink lest even that flutter betray me, but I could not avert my eyes. Santa had arrived. He knelt and carefully arranged the packages under the tree. Then he stood up. As he rose, the Nova lights illuminated his face. Instantly, I knew I was witnessing a crime. An impostor was doing the work of Santa, and I knew the identity of the criminal. It was my Aunt Helen. My first reaction was disappointment. It wasn't that I hadn't wondered about the reality of Santa before. Like most kids of my age, I had entered into that awkward space where I largely knew the facts, but preferred to live within the myth as much as to shield my parents from the loss of my innocence as to prolong the fleeting gains of a generous tradition. but I still wished that my aunt had been more careful. I fell into a restless sleep, wondering about the status of the doctor's bag. What was to become of the request that I had entrusted to him at the J.C. Penney store back in the States? The next morning, as soon as my brothers and I could persuade the adults that Santa would be insulted at their bed-bound disinterest in his midnight labors, the bathrobe family converged in the living room. The gifts were distributed at last. As we opened them, I began to despair, for no medical paraphernalia was materializing. The nuggets were wonderful, but the crown jewel was missing. Then Helen spelled my grandfather in handing out the packages. When she came to me, she gave a knowing wink and handed me a parcel. The tag stated, "To Andrew from Santa." My newly discerning eyes lingered on the familiar, elegant handwriting and confirmed the fact. It was from Santa, the Santa whose work I had personally witnessed in that tree-lit room just hours before. The package contained the finest toy stethoscope, blood pressure cup, thermometer, hypodermic needle, pharmaceuticals, and house bag imaginable. After all, Helen was a nurse. That Christmas remained my favorite, long after my medical reign of terror over my younger cousins had ended and the instruments of torture worn out. It endures as a special memory of my aunt, who on that day and in the years to come proved a worthy successor to Santa.
Wow.
Oh, that's awesome.
You know, Andy, I had my eyes closed during these stories, and I saw in my mind's eye everything that you experienced as a child there. That was just beautiful.
Yeah, that was a great one.
Yeah, it really
I love
was.
that. And what a nice relationship you must have also with your aunt, or you must have at the time.
She's passed on
Yes.
now, but she was a great lady.
She sounds incredible.
She understood kids. She particularly understood boys.
Wow, that's amazing. What a wonderful thing. And if you're just joining us now,
We are Trend Radio, and we're talking with Andy Scrimger.
yes, we are, and it's wonderful. And I believe, Andy, you have one more story for us.
I do. It's called Putting Away Christmas.
Wonderful.
Most of the people I know hate to see Christmas come to an end. After all, who gets enough time under the mistletoe? Who tires of hearing English choirs singing the holly and the ivy? We love to carol December's antiquities. But this tradition-laden time of year is not exempt from a sad but basic fact. Everything under the sun has its season and no more. So despite our sentimental bent, Christmas too must be dismantled. The stockings cannot lace the fireplace forever, nor the overdressed tree preside over the living room, much past the fall of the crystal ball in Times Square, or the arrival of the Three Kings 6 days later. I've always been blessed with neighbors who observe good timing when it comes to putting up and taking down their holiday lights. Barney in Littleton, Colorado, was exemplary. He and our family lived next to each other in a cul-de-sac that bumped against a swath of wildness containing a creek, pond, beaver, fox, raccoons, and kids creeping under the willows, stalking serious prey. Our backyard shared a small hill that our kids called the mountain. On the day after Thanksgiving, just like clockwork, you would hear the clatter of a ladder being moved around the yard. Christmas was under construction next door. Barney first trussed a crabapple tree in his front yard with multicolored Nova lights. Then these lights that stirred the memories of the Christmas trees of my childhood, were strung along the front of his house and the roof line of the garage, illuminating the basketball hoop that protruded dead center over its broad door. Their old-fashioned glow of blues, greens, red, and oranges contrasted the modernistic, monochromatic mini lights that outlined our shrubs and those of the neighbors. But best of all, they and the street light provided ample candle power for my son and me to play basketball after dark in Barney's driveway. Drew and I can testify to the sturdiness of Nova lights and Barney's installation, for they withstood more than one direct hit when our ball missed the backboard altogether and crashed into the gutter. Most families agree that the decorations must eventually come down. They don't, however, always agree as to just when this should happen. My family is still working towards a consensus. On New Year's Day during the Rose Parade, my wife is restless, eager to pack it all up. I resist. Having lived for 20 years in Denver, where the tradition was to keep the outside holiday lights blazing until the end of the National Western Stock Show deep into the third week of January, I want to postpone striking the set as long as possible. After all, once the glistening ornaments are packed away in the trunks, winter, which has been kept at bay with the Festival of Lights, turns stern, and the responsibility for goodwill to all becomes weighty. Without the assistance of candles and choirs of angels, I want to postpone as long as possible the bleak midwinter when earth and heart stand hard as iron, water like a stone. During my Colorado days, I stumbled upon a way to freeze-frame all holiday gaiety. Simply leave home while the poinsettias are still radiant. Walk away before pine needles litter the living room rug. Head to the airport before empty boxes rise from the basement and confiscate every ball and bauble and imprison every toy soldier. If you time it right, you avoid seeing your home look barren and forlorn. I actually did that, just once. I was granted a year-long sabbatical from Regis University in Denver to study at Drexel University in Philadelphia. So I headed east and lived with old friends in Jersey. When the Christmas break arrived, I rushed home for the festivities, but then flew right back to class after New Year's. As I unpacked my suitcase, scenes of our festooned house still dancing in my head, the phone rang. It was Dot. "Andy!" Something was wrong. I knew it instantly, for panic coursed through those two terse syllables. "Andy, there's a snake in the house, in the family room, by the Christmas tree. Do something!" Now, what could I do? My doctoral studies did not include mastery of speed of light travel. If ever I coveted Superman's powers of flight or Paul Bunyan's transcontinental stride, it was then. I felt so helpless. Then it came to me. "Get Barney," I urged, and she did. She rushed next door, rang the bell, and miracle of miracles, Barney was home. She poured out her plight. He agreed to help, though not with enthusiasm, disappeared for a moment, and reappeared with coat, hat, and a thick pair of plastic gardening gloves, and hurried across the lawn with Dot to confront the disturber of the peace. The serpent had not moved. Barney cautiously surveyed his options, crept close, hands as unsteady as jello. Suddenly, with a pre-suburban yell, he lunged forward and grabbed the lime green intruder just below its neck. So ferocious was its you or me grip that the wriggling body split and green unseemliness splattered his glasses. Dot opened the patio door, and Barney rushed through and flung the wreathing coils up the mountain. Holiday morsels for the fox. After a tortured wait, my phone rang again. It was Dot, still breathless, with news of Barney's heroics and the snake's likely itinerary. The drama had begun when she had decided that it was high time to put away her porcelain Dickens Village buildings, one of our holiday delights. and had retrieved their boxes from the crawl space in the basement where she had temporarily stored them in a large black plastic garbage bag. As she emptied the styrofoam containers onto the family room carpet, out slithered the uninvited guest. It had probably been nesting in the barren undercroft, but found better lodging in the crevices of the Department 56 boxes that, when moved, unceremoniously disturbed its sleep. So Dot resumed her packing. The Ebenezer Scrooge house and the T. Wells Fruit and Spice Shop were reunited with their custom-fit cases. The tree and mistletoe came down, as did the wreath on the front door. Christmas was finally contained, but not goodwill. It continued to reside next door.
Wow, that was great.
That was fabulous.
He really had to squeeze that snake to crush it.
He was desperate. Probably frightened to death, the poor man. But he came through, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
Oh, gosh, Andy, we can't thank you enough for reading to us, and especially these stories that were from your life.
Yeah, wonderful. Absolutely wonderful.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
If anybody wants to know anything else about Andy, feel free to email me Anthony at trendradio920@gmail.com, and we will give you information.
We actually have many of his stories. We can make copies and send them to you.
That's
if
exactly
you'd like.
what I was going to say.
Of course it was.
Yeah, of course.
Andy, thank you very, very much. It was a pleasure having you on the show today.
My delight, and I'll continue to take delight in telling stories with you while I'm in the chair.
Absolutely. Looking forward to that.
I love to hear them.
Looking forward to that.
Absolutely.
You've been listening to Trend Radio, where we talk about what's hot and what's not every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. Learn and laugh with us anytime, any place. Go right to our website, AnthonyVincentSalon.com. Click away and listen today.
And if you have a topic of interest that you want us to talk about, or you'd like to be a guest on our show, email us now at trendradio920@gmail.com. You'll be glad you did.
I'm Anthony Vincent.
And I'm Elise.
And we'll talk to you next week.
Bye for now, and happy holiday.
holidays. Merry Christmas.
Happy Hanukkah.
And happy Kwanzaa.